All right. Go for it.
Good morning, afternoon, and good night. Welcome back to Nerding Out. Hi, I can wave to you guys now.
What's
This
up?
is Gabriel, man, with the plan with the. I don't have a spray bottle this time. I'm not going to pretend because you guys can see that.
We hit it.
They actually hit it for me this time.
We
Hi,
hit
guys.
it. Did you guys miss us? Do we
got
have enough
cameras now.
followers to say that?
We have Olive,
So-
Elizabeth, and Justin.
Believe it or not, actually, which is I thought was kind of cool. We did a poll on Instagram to see if people were like, "Hey, do you actually like this show?" We're like, yeah." Or we're like, "Oh, okay."
Aww.
I can
So we have
flex on.
fans?
I can flex
Yay.
on camera now.
You can flex on camera now. Yeah, so we'll be using this for the main show also, but Nerding Out gets the
We're trying
the
it
maiden
out.
voyage. Yeah.
See, this is still new enough to the point where this won't bother anybody if this works or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you like it, cool. If you don't, too bad.
Yes.
We're going to be doing it anyways.
Yeah. So we have a lot to cover today, but that's a good thing.
So first, I just want to say sorry for the little week off.
Yeah.
We hit a snag last week.
Yes.
We all had some shit to do and some shit happened. So it was
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was smarter for us to take a break than force an episode
Correct.
because we don't want to force anything that's still new that would be just bad content.
Correct. Yeah. But we're back.
Hi.
And yes, we're
Whether
back.
you
and
like it or
stuff.
not.
Correct.
So I guess we start the big topic off.
Yes.
Blizzard is fucked.
Yeah, Blizzard is going down.
They're so
You wanna
fucked.
Switch the screen.
Yeah, so I'm going to use this in Switch. So as you guys can see, Blizzard has been under fire lately from a bunch of lawsuits.
From the state of California.
yeah.
So Blizzard got sued by the state of California for a major sexual harassment lawsuit. And
Major.
Like everybody is like Blizzard has finally hit the tipping point. Apparently, what I was reading from different lawsuits and such was that this has been going on for so many years.
Pull up an article.
Yeah, fuck. I wish I had the one that I read. I found it on
The
Twitter.
details are insane.
Crazy.
It's
The
insane.
things that were said, the things that were done in those offices are insane.
This is one of them. Blizzard's president is leaving. Everyone thinks that he just got fired by like the board of directors because like of all the shit that's happening. The Blizzard president has been in on it, I think, since the entire time. Like he let it slide this entire time, everything that was going on.
Yeah.
So this happened, and then I saw it on Twitter from the like one of the original members of Blizzard, like one of the founders. I wish I could find it right now, but that's on Twitter, and I'd have to log into Twitter and all this stuff, but I don't want to do that.
Correct, yeah.
So it was like basically one of the original founders of Blizzard was just like, hey, this is some fucking bullshit. I know this guy. He shouldn't have been leading this company for as long as he has.
Yeah.
Like
insane.
he basically said, I could have told you about this guy years ago, but I left due to what is it called? Arguments. They left disagreement.
Disagreements.
Oh,
They
yes.
had a major disagreement years ago. He founded his own gaming company. He's good now, but he was like, I left because this type of bullshit was happening. I wish it would have been fixed. It didn't. Now look what's happening.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy the fact that I mean, it's been going on for a long time apparently, which is insane.
Yeah, the minute they said it was that basically in the offices and where they were working, it was just promoting frat boy culture, I knew something was going to be, like, I knew the details were going to be shitty, but I didn't think it was going to be that shitty. Like, the fact that grown men were getting drunk in the middle of the day,
Doing pub crawls at work.
doing pub crawls, terrorizing women who probably are already having a hard time because they're getting fucking underpaid, but now they're having a guy come under their desk that's completely drunk.
Yeah.
And at work, and nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, that's pretty insane to me.
It's what's even crazier is the fact that most of the time when you see these kind of lawsuits is there's always like it's like he said, she said, you know, like people
And then it
will
goes
still
away real quick.
Yeah, people still support company. No one's supporting Blizzard right now. Like I just saw that from Overwatch League, their biggest thing, they built a fucking stadium in Burbank for Overwatch League. All the companies are backing out.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola backed
wow.
out, State Farm backed out. Like they're losing everything that they've built.
Yeah, anytime
Which
there's
is-
sexual allegations now, people just immediately pull out.
As it should be.
I completely agree. Completely agree.
Yeah, I think that now finally more than ever people are finally realizing like how damaging it is for these people to be working in these environments, you know?
Yeah, and it's bad enough that gaming the gaming community itself, and everyone feels differently about their, individual chosen games, and those have their different communities. But the gaming industry itself is very hard to be in if you're a woman.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to even play a simple game. And, I'm not really the type where I'm like, oh, I won't play because of that. I play Apex and that's pretty much it, but I will not step into a COD lobby at all.
No, you can't. It's so toxic. I feel like Apex is marginally less toxic because it seems like more people that actually like games are playing Apex as opposed to COD.
Yeah,
and I've said this too. I can't play COD anymore because it's just such a toxic environment that I don't feel the need to subject myself to that.
I can't. And, it would be so fun to do that, but I don't want to put myself through that because, I get the complete opposite. The Apex community has its flaws, but I have to say I've experienced a lot of good stuff playing with different people.
Yeah.
I've interacted with a lot of good people. I have teams where it's just me and 2 other guys, and, they were really nice to me, not shitty on me because I fucked up on one thing.
Yeah.
Or, but there's been the opposite of that where and it's funny, I get it from the girls too. Occasionally, I've gone on teams with 2 other girls, and they just, I don't know if it's just they feel competitive with somebody on their own team, but they're just shitty in itself. They're shitty.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and it's just funny seeing that, but I've had more positive than negative experience with people on Apex.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that you say that because it kind of puts in to perspective the culture of certain gaming franchises.
I think it's very different, and I think for Apex the reason why it's different is because Respawn made these characters so diverse.
Yeah.
You've got Valkyrie, who just came in as the first full lesbian character, and then you've got Seer, who looks like
Lil Nas X.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
The fact that they're able to do everything, even with their going so deep as to make their sexuality such an important part of their identity.
It's cool.
It's fucking amazing. Because you don't see that in any other games unless it's a major plot device. This is a BR.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter who you pick or who you play, but the fact that they're able to do this with their backstories and their characters, it's insane.
Yeah, and they put so much work into their interactions between stories, because of the whole thing that happened in the last season. Bangalore I think she's struggling with her sexuality, so she kind of brushed off Loba, who did everything she could because Bangalore gets poisoned. Loba tries to save her, and she does, but it just sucks because Bangalore just brushes her off and says she's a friend, but I think she's dealing with her sexuality. So Valk is
Which
throwing
is
her
crazy that they can do that.
right.
That's so cool.
And Valk is throwing herself at Loba because she's because she saw the entire thing happen, so she was oh, she's hurting, let me move in on this. So now they have interactions, and now Bangalore and Valk have different interactions, and there's actually a Titanfall little Easter egg between Valk and Bangalore, and she's Bangalore doesn't like flyers, doesn't care if it's human flyer with a jetpack, doesn't care if it's one of those creatures for Titanfall. She's had a bad past, so it's going to start getting revealed as we go along. So I think that's really cool. So now they all have their different interactions.
I keep forgetting that Apex is in the Titanfall universe. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, Garrick, because I've never played Titanfall. I've never played
Really?
any of those.
So good.
But
Titanfall
I've seen
2 still has a big community online.
I know they hacked our game because their servers got cut off completely because of hacker, and I was as much as I can't play right now and I have to keep unloading, reloading, everything like that, I respect it. I think I would be so pissed to do that with Apex too.
Yeah. That's kind of hilarious though, actually.
But yeah, kudos on Apex for having such diversity in all aspects.
Yeah, for
And
real.
one more thing about Blizzard, what I really love and I'm so happy of is the community backing up the people.
Yeah.
Because right
100%.
now, super famous Twitch streamer Asmongold. Have you guys heard of him?
I believe I've seen him. I just don't really.
I'm not really into streamers.
He's
so.
really popular. He was a big World of Warcraft streamer. He did a lot of shit, but his main thing was World of Warcraft.
Oh, okay.
As
I
soon
think
as
I know what you're
everything
talking
started
about.
going down, he stopped playing World of Warcraft. He was talking about he wants to be on the side of survivors, all that stuff. He stopped it.
That's
he
cool.
removed it from his channel. He's I'm not doing this anymore. He just stopped. And now he's just the last time I saw a couple TikToks with him where he was reviewing the cases from the victims at Blizzard. like just talking about them, like saying how we need to do better as a culture, as a gaming culture, because this shit's it's toxic. It's always been toxic.
Yeah,
it's not gonna stop being toxic, but we need to do our best to prevent it from getting to such bad cases.
Yeah,
like,
and
people are still gonna be people, but it's like we got to stop it.
It starts from the industry itself, and right even down to the players. You need to. I've had guys that have been like really shitty to me. Like one person on the team's been really shitty, and then I've had the other person the other dude defend me completely. He's like, don't talk to her like that. And like the amount of people that I've also gotten on there, because remember my screen name is, Japanese. It's Satsuki. I've gotten so many racist comments. It's not even funny.
I was playing with Taekwon the other day before you got on, and Taekwon, you guys know him if you've watched Strawberry Death Machine videos on YouTube. He's African American. We were playing games, and it was just like me and Taekwon. One guy was super cool, super chill. We were talking like he was a homie, and then the next guy was just calling him the N-word out of nowhere.
Dude,
like just saying it. We're just like, dude, what the fuck is happening?
It's, what I think it is, and what I think it comes back to, it's the same reason people talk shit on Twitter. It's because there's no repercussions.
Yeah, and no matter how, that's the hard part with Apex, and it's a huge complaint within the community. But again, you can put in the defense of the fact that the game is free, so they don't have enough they don't have enough monitors, they don't have enough people like Hideouts, who is their main guy, who literally Hideouts gets so much shit, and he gets so many threats from people because he's like, why don't you stop? They're always messaging him about the cheaters and all of these things, and it's like, he's one guy. They barely have anyone for, the China region to moderate all of their stuff. So, it is a free game. So that's pretty much what we get. But it sucks because when we play, that's what we have to run into.
Yeah. How many players does Apex have worldwide?
Apex is a lot. Let me check.
Apex has a huge amount. And this season, they actually broke a record because everyone's coming to play this game. People in COD are coming to play this game. A lot of streamers who stream COD are now playing this.
I believe it.
Yeah, honestly, this new season has been amazing.
Jesus Christ, 100,000?
That was in 2020. So it's probably like a little bit more, especially with the new season out. I'd say that jumps to at least to 2,500,000.
Yeah.
250,000, sorry.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people.
God damn, that's crazy.
Yeah,
it's a big game, especially with the newest seasons. With what they're doing, what we just talked about.
Yeah,
it's great.
The map is amazing. So basically, they kind of blew up World's Edge. So Bloodhound, because that's his home world, they kind of have his story going on the side, and there's a lot of interaction between the characters really coming together, which is amazing because like Loba considers Bloodhound like family. And Revenant's out to get whoever she loves because she destroyed his like death code. Is this
all in the comics?
Mm-hmm.
I need to read the comics.
Yeah, the Broken Ghost was when Loba was introduced, and she finds Revenant's death code, and he can't die without it, and he wants to die. She breaks it and gives him like immortality to let him suffer. So he's like, I'm just gonna find somebody that you love, and I'm gonna take them from you, just like I did your parents.
Jesus.
Yeah, you want to know one of their most fucked up interactions on the game is, like, if you're Loba, and it's happened to me twice, and you're on the team with a Revenant and you get Kill Eater, Revenant will go, oh, Loba, you're Kill Eater. You know how many I got 2 kills over you, mommy and daddy. It's the most fucked up thing, but it's really interactive, which that's what I love about it. But this new season, you've got Bloodhound story going, you have Seer, and the World Edge is probably one of the best maps that the best version of that map that I've seen in a long time.
That's crazy.
There's so many different videos of the comics that there's a lot. I need to.
There's so many.
Yeah. I'm just looking on YouTube right now. It's just like, there's like a lot of lore talking videos. Then they're like all different seasons. Like I just saw this one that was 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if this is just
that's everything in order. So Wraith was the first one to get her introduction, and then I believe it was Bloodhound. I don't remember how it goes exactly, but Pathfinders is probably the most that one gets my heart because we just recently found out who made him in the last season.
Who made him?
It was a team of scientists, and it was actually because Horizon got shot into outer space, and she lost. She couldn't be with her son, and she came back, and to find out that one of the scientists that was working on like this project and Pathfinder was her son, Newt.
Oh, Jesus.
along with all of these other scientists and everything like that. And Newt and all of them sacrificed their lives for Pathfinder because he was supposed to, do what he does.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's insane.
I didn't realize how much lore there is in this game.
There's a lot of lore. Like Fuse has his own thing. Like Fuse and Bloodhound have become really good friends. Like Fuse learned some of Bloodhound's like language and like the way they talk just so that he could like,
That's cool.
communicate and kind of just like get his trust. And because Bloodhound's world is breaking apart, he feels really bad and he feels like he's failed his people and everything like that. So Fuse, every time like you talk to him, and like I think they did it in the firing range just like they did with like Loba and Valk's like little preview, and he's just like, you can't be so hard on yourself, dude, like just I'm there for you, you can talk about it to me. And I was just like, this is really like, if you ever wanted to like give your kids a game that's like really violent at the same time but like also teaches them shit like that,
Yeah.
Apex is your game.
Apex, yeah. That seems like a pretty
Gears of
good
War.
shout.
Oh my
Well,
God.
hold on.
Hey, the Gears of War story was so fucking
Amazing.
It's sad. I feel like it just talks about like loss and how to deal with revenge and how to deal with that trauma.
That's like taking like a 10-year-old. Like, hey, you ever heard of Spec Ops: The Line?
Hey, teach him young.
Jesus Christ, Gibby.
Here, kid, Grand Theft Auto.
Good Lord.
Learn not to do.
So a couple of other things regarding legal troubles. First, we've got Scarlett Johansson suing Disney. And then
yeah.
And then after that,
What is okay? I'm unfamiliar with this, so I just heard about it. I don't know what the story is behind that.
Okay,
you need
so-
to educate me.
Do you want to do it?
yeah. So Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow solo movie was supposed to go out last year, but remember COVID and everything like that.
Right.
Nobody wanted to release anything until we were able to go back to theaters. And unfortunately, Scarlett Johansson's pay depended on whatever the income came from, box office views.
Right.
So they finally released it on, in box office, but also on Disney Plus, which took more of the revenue. And she lost out on about $50 million because of what they did.
Jesus Christ.
And Emma Stone, who also had a movie release, which was Cruella on Disney Plus, she is also looking at her options for legal action towards Disney.
Wow.
Disney's defense, which I kind of felt like this was shitty to say. Like, I get, like, Disney's going to use everything they got.
Yeah.
But it was really shitty. Disney basically says, like, Scarlett Johansson is being very insensitive in this time of COVID.
Disney is the biggest corporation in the world.
But here's the thing.
Well, one of, I don't want to say.
But here's the thing. We're still in this pandemic, and movies like Suicide Squad are being released. Movies like we've got so many movies that are coming up. Like Halloween literally waited till this coming year to be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Halloween, Gordon and everyone on that team was not going to release that film. Like, they literally told us, like, hey, here's a tidbit. We're letting you know these are these characters that are coming back. Just hold on for another year.
Yeah.
And they did that. But they fucked over Scarlett Johansson so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. And, at first I was like, oh, maybe she should have thought about that before. But it was always there. Like, they kept telling her apparently that they were going to release it in box office, that they were going to wait and not put it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Because here's the thing. We waited so long for this movie. It should have happened before Endgame. And people fought to have it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yeah, no. So
Have you seen it yet?
Damn.
We were
Black
supposed
Widow?
to have this
Yeah.
movie.
No.
Okay, yeah. So it's clear that it should have happened before Endgame. Like, everything takes place right then. The only thing that they did to change it, since they waited so long, is they replaced the end credit scene.
Yeah, so
So the end credit scene relates directly to the TV shows that we're having.
Oh, weird.
yeah,
Okay.
because they're building up the Dark Avengers and Thunderbolts.
That's right. Okay. That I do remember.
And Scarlett Johansson said it herself. She never thought that Black Widow needed a solo movie, and I completely agreed.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I can agree with, like, I would have been fine with not having a Black Widow movie, but I thought it was good. I didn't think it was that great.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, and I think it's just because I would have cared more before if it was set, but like if they had released it before Endgame, because that would have made it 10 times more heartbreaking.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, she dies in Endgame, so everything before that is just the past.
For a 4-year-old movie, Gabe, come on. God.
It's been out for how many years?
3?
Spoilers still. We still don't talk about the end of Death Note or Code Geass.
What?
We don't.
Why?
But we can talk about the
Something.
genocide in Code Geass.
Yes, because that
Jesus.
is season 1.
Lelouch just fucked himself so bad.
When I was a kid, I used to confuse Code Geass and Code Lyoko.
Okay, but
That's such a big fuck
I know,
up.
it's so bad.
okay, but
Imagine the
who else was
wait,
literally shaped by shows like Code Lyoko?
Code Lyoko
Because I
my
was.
shit.
But think of the Code Lyoko sprite saying commit the genocide.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it was a good thing. I'm just saying it happened.
I hate you.
Jesus Christ.
I have to say that out of all the waifus, I think I relate to Cece the most because like when Garrick's out doing things, I'm just eating in my room.
He comes
Just
back
waiting.
and you're just eating the pizza.
Just waiting. Like literally he came home one day and I was in like the bathtub with wine and like fucking McDonald's fries and he was like, "What you doing?" I was like, and
I feel like that's an album cover.
okay, but no, I literally should have taken a picture because I'd like that was the day that I cleaned the house and everything like that. And I was like, you know what? I did my duties. I'm gonna take a bath. And he came in and he was just like,
What are you doing? I'm like, bitch, I'm relaxing.
Leave me alone.
I deserve this.
wait, oh no. So side note, I'm gonna try to keep this short. I sent the chat the whole nightmare situation the other night with him, right?
Yes. We
I want to talk about
We
this.
talked about it on our podcast yesterday.
Oh shit,
Dude, oh my God.
Yeah, no. So here's my version of it because I know he said.
let's
I know
hear
he.
your side.
I know he said some shit.
So this is going to come out first, so tell your side.
Thank God. Thank God.
I need
Listen to me.
I need to crack something open for this.
Crack open a cold one with the boys.
So disclaimer,
Arizona.
him and I, like when we got that, that was the night that we got that pre-wrapped like backwoods
The
with
monster joint?
the
Yes.
monster. It was a monster blunt with like keef and like all this stuff in it. It was fancy. It was for our nurse weekend. We all hung out, watched some movies, and then went to bed. Whenever him and I smoke too much, I swear we just end up having nightmares. And I was having
Understandable.
having a nightmare that there was somebody in the corner of the room. So as I'm having this fucking nightmare, this asshole wakes up, shoots up, and he talks in his sleep. He has full on fucking conversations. Sometimes I think he's talking to me and he wakes me up and I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? So he's never been so animated or so like freaked out before, and I was like, oh my God, like I was barely waking up and he's like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? And I was like, oh no, there's something in the corner. I was trying
Which
to
is,
wake
first
up.
of all, a terrifying thing to say to somebody.
It was so terrifying. He kept screaming. I was like, what do you mean, babe? And he's like, my hand. I was like, what are you talking about, your hand? He goes, it's numb. I go, motherfucker, you fell asleep on it. He goes, and with the sassiest, most, you know that face he gets when he's just, that fucking sassy, like angry face. Oh. And then goes to bed. Like it was my motherfucking fault. Like it was my fault. Like I fucking made his hand, like I made his hand fucking go numb. Like I had fucking witch powers. Like just the most resentful look he's ever given me.
Jesus Christ.
Keep in mind, this was 3 a.m. in the morning. I did not sleep the rest of the night. I was just laying on my back, smoking my stizzy, praying. I was like, where's the sage? Somebody help me.
When we went for brunch, you look so exhausted.
I was
You look
exhausted.
dead, dude.
And, you know, like, we saw this TikTok about like couples, how they get an imaginary person that they blame everything on. I know. He talked to you about Gerald the gaslighting ghost already, hasn't he?
That's the name of their episode. It's like,
Is it that or is it Julio GX?
I think it's Julio GX.
We can call this one Gerald the gaslighting joke.
We'll call this one the Gerald.
Gerald.
Gary.
Gary!
Gerald the gaslighting ghost.
Why are you in the corner, Gary?
Gary.
Yeah. So we saw
Shout
that.
out Ryan Sickler.
So we saw that, and I was like, Oh, that's what Gerald is. So I got up that morning. I was so angry because he remembered nothing. He got such good sleep. I wanted to slap him in the fucking face. I was so angry.
I couldn't hang. Like if somebody took my sleep,
So
like a fucking melatonin vampire, I can't do it.
that's what Gerald's for, because I had to keep telling kept telling myself that was Gerald's fault.
Did you just say melatonin vampire?
Yeah.
That is the best phrase I've ever heard. I fucking love that.
Babe, when you hear this, change your Twitter at
Melatonin vampire.
Melatonin vampire.
because that's what he is.
Hey,
that's a great term.
it's on brand.
That's a great
It's
term.
100% on brand, but I swear to God, I'm going to smack him next time he does that. Whenever he jumps up again, I'm going to be like, I don't know what the fuck is that, and push him off.
Damn. That's crazy.
I did not sleep. I want revenge.
All right. So me and Serge have a topic that we want to talk to Nikki about.
Oh,
Serge,
yes.
do you mind switching the display?
Yes.
So
Ooh.
we want to talk about Danganronpa.
Danganronpa.
What? Is that an...
Look at Monokuma.
Look at
Oh,
him.
he's so cute.
Nikki,
No,
this
he's
is,
not.
This is the anime that I was telling you we need to watch the first episode
Oh,
today.
he's
What
so
if I told you?
cute.
What if I told you he was a brilliant sociopath?
What if I told you he was a mass fucking murderer?
Well, he's got this half and half thing going on, so I'm guessing he's a Gemini.
I don't know what year he was born.
Yeah.
He could be. Shit. Okay, so this show,
Explain to me this. I can't wait.
it came out first as a video game. It came out as a visual novel type video game, like a Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So it was created originally as a different game called something super serious, like murder or some shit, where it was a killing game between high school students. But that never got passed because it was too brutal. So they switched it to a sort of like emo punk, emo pop.
So basically kind of like Battle Royale.
No.
No, not quite.
So what this whole thing is, there is a high school.
Top search, I typed in Danganronpa, and the top search is Danganronpa appropriate for 10-year-olds?
No, that goes back to the other thing we were talking about.
Definitely
About not being appropriate. So Danganronpa is basically about a high school called Hope's Peak. What Hope's Peak does...
I have a feeling it's not very hopeful.
It is until Monokuma. So what Hope's Peak is a high school that cultivates ultimate students. So it's like students that are in the top of their fields.
Non-canon, he's a Gemini.
Non-canon? Okay.
Non-canon, he's a Gemini.
So
Thank you.
students that are in the top of their fields of their stuff, like the ultimate tennis player, the ultimate maid, the ultimate secretary, the ultimate nurse, the ultimate like everything. So what the whole school idea was that they will collect the ultimates and they will show the world their abilities and their capabilities to give the world hope.
Yeah.
Which is why it's called Hope's Peak.
Yeah.
To show what the human body can do and what the world can extend to.
So where does it go wrong?
Basically, without giving anything away.
Nikki out here asking the real questions.
Yeah, without giving anything away.
You gotta get me hooked in. I'm telling you, this is like that Invincible scene. I got ADHD. My hair does like this.
How about I show you an execution? We could play that because it's on YouTube, can't we?
With no sound.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it's going to be like... Okay, let me just look up. I saw one today that I know you're going to fucking...
Danganronpa is one word, but okay.
Whatever.
Damn, Serge out here checking Gibby.
This was like the first like visual novel I ever played.
This is an insane visual novel. So the whole idea is that what you have to do in this high school is that you have to kill a student.
Maybe we can add a little bit of sound.
Yeah. So the whole idea is that if you don't kill anybody, you will die in this high school because you're trapped in the high school.
Yeah.
But what you want to do is...
You turn all the way up. I'll control from here.
Okay, cool. If you kill a student, you have to make sure that you don't get caught. And they have a class trial.
Yeah.
So the whole point is that you have to pass a class trial if you kill someone. If
you showed me that video game.
Correct.
You
So
showed me that video game.
The way that
Okay.
it works is that the class essentially votes on whether you're guilty or not guilty, and then Monokuma decides how you die.
And it's all based on your ultimate ability.
Yeah.
So the one that I'm showing you right now, she is the ultimate maid. And she was actually so good at her job. She was the secretary to the... What is the leader of Japan called? What are they called?
Not
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister, yeah.
Yeah, she was the secretary to the prime minister. She did such a good job. They made her the underground prime minister.
I almost said chancellor.
Yeah. So she found out that she needs to leave this killing game because they get the memories taken back, and she just got this memory from Monokuma. She needs to leave this killing game so that she killed somebody and she got caught. So this is her trying to escape because she wants to save the people. So this whole point is just Monokuma is trying to make the students filled with despair. They need to survive with hope, but they're given all the despair because
he basically tries to break them down.
Yeah.
So basically, with great power comes great responsibility.
Essentially, yeah.
So here is the execution. This is
this.
I fucking out of all the executions, this one is from the third video game. It's fucking insane.
I love this.
It's
Yeah,
called
it's
the
awesome.
String of Agony or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's nuts.
All the executions are fucking insane.
Holy shit.
Yeah, this game is intense.
The reason that it's called the emo pop is because of the pink. The pink highlights that they have for the blood. They couldn't have red because then they'd get censored too much. So that's why they made it a pop of just pink color to catch your eye, to make it even more creepy. I'm going to put it back on. I just wanted to talk
fucking
about that.
OP. Okay. I love it.
Yeah. So this is a way that they get around the censor boards.
Yeah. You can let it play. Excuse me.
Does she? Oh shit.
This is a little side thing inside the games.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep. And that's basically the entire idea of how the game goes. It's not a happy ending game.
It is a happy ending.
Well,
It's a hopeful ending.
hopeful ending.
Yes.
but
I would like a show.
There is.
I would like a
There
show.
is, yeah.
So here's the thing.
I've never watched it. I've only played the games.
So the first game has an anime that basically the anime follows the exact path as the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second
it's
and the third game don't have an anime though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you watch the anime for the first, it's either or. You guys can play the game or watch the anime. It's
Yeah,
the same.
it's the
thing.
same shit.
Yeah. It's the anime is a little less cartoony in a way of it's more like an anime, not quite like that. You know.
Oh wow.
Like it is, but it's not. It's hard to explain. You know,
The anime is just very it shows you what's happening. Like in the game, there's obviously everybody's in depth more.
Yeah.
Because they're able to go into everyone's backstories and stuff. The anime does a good job of that.
Yes.
But it's more of just hey, I'm gonna push you. If you like this, play the games. That's the whole point of the first anime. Is hey, if you like this, play the games a little bit. You know,
I like
you'll
this.
enjoy them.
I like this. I'm gonna have to definitely watch that.
It's on Hulu.
Yeah.
it's on Hulu.
Anybody looking it up, Danganronpa, fucking amazing. It's
Yeah.
so good. I stand by it. Oh, it's
So
amazing.
I was gonna talk about this last week when our whole fiasco about our episode happened.
No worries.
Because I was watching Exorcist with my mom the previous night.
Scariest movie I've ever seen to this day.
Never seen the
It
original.
freaks my mom out. I love watching it. It makes me laugh. Exorcist is a comedy to me.
It's the only movie that legit scares me.
It's
Really?
fucking hilarious. And I think my mom's generation is horrified even more because it's just a generation of Catholics.
That's exactly why.
That's
yeah.
exactly why. So we were watching it and I had, I swear I had asked her this question before, but I never got an answer. When Reagan goes downstairs the night of the party and has her little incident and in front of everybody, and she tells the astronaut that he's going to die up there. So
That's right.
I thought about that and I was like, what the fuck is she talking about? Because it's never mentioned again. And I never read the books. So I was like, William Peter Blatty, you asshole. And I went looking to see, what the fuck. So he has another movie that's an indirect, sequel to he says it's a direct sequel to Exorcist, and it's called the Ninth Configuration or something like that. And it shows the astronaut basically going up and aborting mission because he has a panic attack about what Reagan said. Jesus. And literally ends up in a hospital for the rest of his life. And apparently like this hospital, which is where it takes place predominantly, all these people are like they explore their mental illness through like I don't remember exactly, but it's this weird shit. But he made a fucking indirect sequel to The Exorcist about the fucking astronauts. But yet they never mention it again in the film whatsoever.
I don't know if that was like a direct like, hey, just so you know, this is a thing, or if it was like a, hey, so we tried to do this thing and we're just going to tell you to watch the movie to figure it out.
Well, I think, yeah, I get that too. And I think that William Peter Blatty does this because, like, nobody likes Exorcist 2. Every person that I've talked to does not like Exorcist 2.
I've never even seen it.
It's about Reagan when she's older and her psychiatrist tries to... Because remember, at the end, Reagan doesn't remember what happened. Yeah. She doesn't know that she killed Burt Dennings.
Well, that's actually usually what happens for in demon possession, like quite literally in demon possessions. That's usually what happens. Yeah.
And so it's when she's older, and it doesn't show the mom at all. So it kind of implies like the mom was fucking scared of her after, and I completely get that. So they were like, they're basically just doing like these psychological experiments on her, and they're trying to unearth all this stuff, and it's like, I wouldn't be fucking with that.
Yeah, no, because like, you know, because I was raised evangelical Christian, the whole thing is like demons bad. So
you don't fuck with that shit.
No. And I have a rule in my house, like no Ouija boards, no Wicca,
was never allowed.
No black magic, no white magic, nothing that had to do with the other side. Not in my house. No.
And that's what's so funny is Exorcist 2 sucked, but William Peter Blatty came back with Exorcist 3, and it's one of the most horrifying films I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like, there's a scene where this nurse is like, you know that, like, that's what I miss about, like I've said it before, I miss the suspense in a lot of horror movies. And
I've never actually seen it, but I've seen the stills from it, and Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think I've posted it on Twitter because, like, that's my favorite GIF. And basically what happens is this nurse is walking around in this hospital because in the first movie, you know, the person who takes the demon is this priest, and this priest ends up getting possessed again by, because he was a vessel for any kind of demon to come in.
Yeah.
And he gets the Gemini killer, and the Gemini killer is just fucking ruthless, and the things that he does in that movie is horrifying. So he's at this mental hospital, and these murders are happening at night, and it's fucking insane, and they can't figure out who it is. So this nurse is just walking back and forth, doing all this thing. She hears a noise, walks back, and it's agonizing because you know something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And fucking, it finally happens, and somebody's running at her with these big, like, medical scissors. Like, it looks like fucking...
shears.
Yeah, shears. Thank you. Shears, and is in like a Michael Myers, like, a
the
ghost,
jumpsuit?
yeah, like no, like the
sheet?
sheet, like a ghost Bob look, and just runs behind her, and you're like, that's the last thing you see, and you're like, what the fuck was that?
So, The Exorcist #1.
Yeah.
What is the movie?
It's
like, just give me an elevator pitch.
The summary is this little girl gets possessed by a demon.
Okay.
And basically the whole it's a very graphic depiction of a demon possession and exorcism.
It is based off of a book, and the book is also based. I believe in the book it's a boy. I forget if they changed it to a girl, but
it was based off a true story. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And the thing, like, The Exorcist itself, like, there's you have to watch all of them because The Exorcist, the beginning is a great movie, and it kind of tells you where it comes from, because the demon that possesses Reagan is called Pazuzu, and he's ancient. Like, ancient, they find him in, like, Israel. Like, that's where his statue comes from.
Pazuzu, I don't know if he's an actual prince of hell, but I did study some demonology when I was younger, because I went on this whole religious experience where, like, I read every religious text, studied demonology, studied Greek mythology, I studied Luciferianism.
Fucking Book of Lies and everything.
Yeah, I read, you know, the Devil's Bible, I've read different versions of the Necronomicon. I've read, you know, about the categorizations of like the 9 princes of hell and all this other shit. Like, you know,
I just went out with girls who were into different religions. I dated a Christian.
I tried to read like Buddhist texts and like the Quran and like the Torah and all this other shit. But it's crazy to think that every single text always depicts demons kind of the same way, and like the devil is kind of the same way, and it's kind of the image that you see in your head whenever you think of the devil. But with demons, it's different, where they can be depicted in many different ways because they take many different forms. And like you saw Ghost Rider, right?
Yes, one of the greatest movies of all time. Yeah.
That's not even a joke. We love Ghost Rider in this house.
Even Eva Mendes was terrible in the movie. Sorry, unpopular opinion.
We stand
we'll get
CGI abs in this house.
Really?
I'm gonna pull up a
CGI
fucking
abs.
picture. Do you not? Oh my god.
CGI abs.
But Nicolas Cage gets cut. He
He
used
was
to always
shredded for
get
that movie,
he got
dude.
shredded for that movie.
That was not CGI. Gabriel,
Don't ruin my
you're
childhood.
fucking with me right now.
That I'm gonna say that looks like CGI.
Let me see this.
That is not CGI.
No,
He's always that skinny muscular.
He's
Is
shredded.
he always? I
Come
near
on.
seen him
He's
without
always
his shirt off.
you have
That's
so you have
not-
to go back and kind
no.
of look at some of his older movies and stuff, and then look at his other action movies.
Look up Nicolas Cage Con Air.
Yeah,
Look at him in
Con Air.
He was shredded in Con Air.
I think he was even more shredded in Con Air than he was in any other movie.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at his actual real
Look,
life
dude,
pictures in the
come on
bottom
now,
right.
man. He don't shut my boy Nick Cage. Yeah, look at this, dude. Right, one left.
Dog,
one left.
why do I feel like I got the same hair as Nick Cage right now?
How come he looks like Chad Kroger from Nickelback in this movie?
Did you guys see that TikTok I sent you about?
He didn't take a shot from this movie.
Oh wait,
but
no, that was
go
Creed.
up.
Did you guys see that TikTok about Creed that I sent you?
I did not.
No, which one?
Okay, so this relative. Oh, he's what's the lead singer of Creed's name?
Scott Stapp.
Scott Stapp. He is the nephew, and he talks about all of the annoying things that he does, and that's why his family doesn't get along with him. He invoiced his other nephew for like 10,000 grand because he thought that they wanted Creed to play at his wedding.
What?
Yeah. And then like anytime they would go into a store and Creed was playing, he'd be like, "Oh, this place got like this guy has good music taste or something." And it's just like the cringiest shit ever.
Cringy.
And he also said that like he's just like an ass to them and just everything you expect Scott to be.
Well, Scott Stapp is also like legit crazy. Like he's had like multiple like mental breakdowns.
Yeah,
Like,
he has a
been, like,
gambling
institutionalized.
issue.
Yeah.
He has drug issues.
It's crazy to think that Mark Tremonti came from Creed because as a guitar player, Mark Tremonti's amazing. And I'm like, you were in Creed? Because
Who's he with now?
Alter Bridge. He plays in Alter Bridge, yeah.
He went on to Ultra Bridge?
Alter Bridge, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Mark Tremonti's a savage, bro.
Oh,
He's
wow.
so goddamn good. But yeah, my boy Nick Cage, I refuse to believe that those are CGI abs. You can get out of my face.
You
with
know,
that.
it's funny. Do you guys remember when he married Elvis's daughter just because he was like infatuated with Elvis? Did you know that he married Lisa? Yeah, he married Lisa Marie Presley, and it only like check how long their marriage lasts for me. Lisa Marie Presley and Nicolas Cage. He was like obsessed with Elvis. Oh yeah, he married her. Lisa Marie
Presley, right there.
I forget how long it lasted.
She looks good for 53.
Oh yeah, she's got an amazing voice. She did one really good album that I like.
I didn't know that she sang.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she does.
Doesn't say.
Oh well, she married him for a very short time.
Check her Wikipedia page. It'll say like spouses.
Yeah, it'll tell you.
Okay, yeah, spouses. 2 years.
Yeah, it didn't last very long. He was weird.
Interesting.
Nick Cage.
Yeah,
That kind of speaks for
my ex made me sit through that Uncomfortable Mandy movie.
You didn't like it?
It was too much for me at the time.
I get it. Yeah.
I was not in the state of mind to be watching that shit.
Okay, no, you have to watch a movie because it's so overwhelming. You have to watch it sober.
all Nick Cage movies.
Yeah, it's very no. Mandy is very different.
Have you
Is it?
seen Mandy?
No, I remember
Dude,
seeing previews.
You need to see it.
It was like the weird one that was like Mad Max type shit. It was like
No. Well, okay, so part
It's
of
an
it is-
acid
part of
trip
it is
wrapped
like
in
that.
like a candy wrapper.
So basically, think of like Think of like a High on Fire video, like while you're on acid. It's crazy. Just look up High on Fire for me on YouTube.
What is High on Fire?
They're a metal band. I'll turn the sound down so we don't get copyrighted. But
Fuck.
But yeah, just look up High on Fire for me. They're amazing. Right there, the black plot. Just kind of like go to the middle of that video.
That's exact. Oh God, I'm having PTSD.
This is basically what Mandy is in a nutshell.
I'm having PTSD.
Can't have that. Can't have that on there. That was like the worst part to go to.
It's okay. But yeah, so that's basically that movie in a nutshell. It's pretty nuts.
It's messy. It's so messy. I can't. But yeah. What else we were gonna talk about legally? Oh, Trent Reznor, Marilyn Manson.
Oh yeah,
I've been waiting to talk about this.
Right.
So you guys talk about this.
This story surfaced in February, but I just found it today. So for those of you who are unaware, living under a rock, Marilyn Manson has been accused of sexual misconduct on like, I think it was like 15,
9 counts. 9 different women.
9
so
different
far
women, sorry.
That we know of.
So 9 different women, and he released like a statement, and he like named Trent Reznor in one of those. And he's like,
"Oh no!" So what happened is he didn't release like
the singer for Nine Inch Nails.
He didn't release a recent statement. It was in an interview. An interview years ago that they already said was like a weird interview, that it was like misquoted and all these stupid things. So he tried to drag Trent Reznor down with him.
And so like all these allegations resurfaced. The thing about Trent Reznor resurfaced, and Trent was like, "You better get my name out of your mouth, son," because Trent Reznor is he's like, I cut ties with him 25 years ago for a reason, dude. He's a terrible person.
I've never heard anything bad about Trent Reznor. Every person that I've heard him I've heard about him, no bad things. Like
Shout
nothing.
Out to Halsey.
Yeah. Shit. That's gonna be so good. That little snippet. Oh
yeah,
that was all I needed. Just that little snippet of the song. But this entire thing with Marilyn Manson shocks me for like a couple of reasons.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys know about this, but there was this case about the West Memphis 3, and it was about the Robin Hood Hill murders or something, where these 3 boys were murdered. Like little boys, like mutilated, murdered. And these 3 local teenage boys were arrested, and they were prosecuted basically based off of their type of dress, dresses like we do, all black, like basically the, kids that look like they practice like Wicca really shitty, and all these things. And they basically got falsely imprisoned for years.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
And so the lead singer of Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder. Yeah. Eddie Vedder, Marilyn Manson, and a couple of other artists. I think Johnny Depp had a hand in helping. That sounds about right. But they all like Eddie Vedder was basically the biggest advocate for it. He was like the biggest face of all of it. He always came out to everything. He like gave money. But Marilyn Manson was also involved. He also like spoke out about it, but he donated, I believe he like donated, helped financially, but he did not put his face on it because he felt like it was going to make it worse for the boys. So like, that's one thing that I'm just like, I can't like correlate with that type of person that I'm hearing all of these allegations about, because it's like, you hear that and you're like, wait, what happened to this person type thing. And then, you go back to when he's dating Rose McGowan, and there's that famous MTV appearance that they do where she's in like the like nude dress, like the one that's completely see-through in the back. And like everyone asked her like, why would you do that and everything, and she's like, because he made me feel comfortable, he made me feel confident, he didn't make me feel weird about it, like I was very confident that day, and I've never experienced that with anyone else. Obviously they broke up, and Rose McGowan and both Dita Von Teese have came out and said, look, we didn't experience that with him. But Dita Von Teese said, look, our marriage fell apart because of drug use and him, but he never did that to me. And Rose McGowan said the same thing, but she said, I stand with the survivors and everything. Just because it didn't happen to me doesn't mean it happened to them. Because 2 of the big names that are on that list of women is Evan Rachel Wood, my girl from True Blood, and Westworld, and she's been saying that she's been abused for years. She's had
that was the big one. That was the one that broke was the big one.
Because I forget if he dated her before or after he married Dita, but I don't think he was kind of the same after he dated Dita, because he was already on like a whole bunch of drugs and he was spiraling, which is why she left. I think he got worse after, because even Trent Reznor said he's just a dopey clown and all he does is drugs. And that's in most of the accusations, that he drugs them,
which makes sense, because when I saw him, he was drugged out of his mind.
All of the I can't tell you how many countless videos, pictures I can pull up from recent concerts that he just looks like shit, which really sucks, because he's always been one of the greatest performers, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Like early 90s videos, like one of my favorite video
MTV Awards, I think it was 99.
Fucking him and Eminem. Him and Eminem.
Yeah, that was the way I am. Mm-hmm.
One of the
I really hope that was on stream. Oh my god! I really hope that was caught.
For everyone who's watching,
my boyfriend has gamer rage.
We just heard Garrick say, "What the fuck are you doing over there, you piece of shit?"
Yeah, dude. Then he stopped.
Have
screaming.
Have you not been hearing that the entire episode?
No,
I haven't been hearing it. That's the first time I heard it.
Dude,
Jesus.
that's because we took a pause right there. Every time we're talking, I just hear it in the background. It's like, oh, I hope this doesn't pick up.
So Evan Rachel Wood has been saying for years that, there's been somebody that, groomed her, because they started dating when she was 19. And keep in mind, like, Evan Rachel Wood came from a movie, like, her debut was 13, which was a great movie. It has, it also has, who's the chick that plays, Nikki Reed, that plays Rosalie in Twilight. Really iconic movie, like, cult classic type thing. She's, decently famous, does great acting and stuff, but she's shut her mouth for years. But that cost her statutes of limitation. So she can't seek legal action towards him. She can only help other people and have them come out for all that kind of stuff. So she's basically trying to help them. And the second woman that is pretty famous that came out about it was, I can't remember her name, but you'd know because you watch Game of Thrones too. It's the chick that used to sleep with Theon, that was the brothel girl with the red hair that like flashes in before she leaves.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know like what their name is.
Okay, but that is who is also accusing Marilyn Manson of abuse and sexual assault. But the details of all of this are fucking horrifying. Like how he'd lock them in the room for hours, like cold ass temperatures, no clothes, like no cell phone access, couldn't talk to anybody. Like Evan Rachel Wood and a couple of other women said he was so powerful that he had everything tapped, everything like hacked, and the ability to track all of them. And it's insane.
I was thrown up against a wall and he threatened to bash my face in with the baseball bat he was holding for trying to get him to pick out a pair of pants prior to a music video. Fuck.
Yeah, and Evan Rachel Wood said that like he would get angry and just lock her away. Like just fucking lock her away. And then like she said that she met a complete like it's textbook grooming. She met a completely different person at 19, said that he was going to take care of her, like move in with me, like it was intense and everything. And like, I was a 19-year-old once, and I know exactly how that feels and how easily manipulated 19-year-olds are. So I can honestly see how she would, go into that. And also, what sucks is that it wasn't what she thought it was. And she says it like it was like a switch the minute I got into that house. The minute he had me, the entire act changed completely. And then what else? I believe they were talking about how he has like, he's done cover-ups, he's hurt people, like all of this crazy shit. Just insane. Like all these allegations. And then when it first came out, and after he made the statement, nobody's heard anything about it. Nobody's heard from him. And basically, LAPD did like a welfare check and they said everything was fine with him, but we haven't heard about anything since. But the FBI and like all law enforcement are getting involved, and it's going to be a huge thing. So I'm interested to see where this goes, because there's a lot of there's a lot of evidence in that, like a lot of things that people have come up with. Like Evan Rachel Wood even says it, like she says, like, if you look at the timeline of when I left him and I escaped,
I really had to pee.
and I escaped. He made that, I fucking forget which video it is for what song, but he has an Evan Rachel Wood like lookalike in the video, and he's basically just beating the shit out of her. And the way that he talks about it in the song and like all of these things,
What video is this?
I forget which one it is, but it's like in a hotel room, and she detailed it too. She detailed it, but I'd have to find it. And she said, look, it's all about me, and I can see it because you can see it in his music.
Yeah.
You can definitely see it in his music. It's really disappointing. It's really disappointing if this is going to come out as completely 100% true.
Yeah.
Because this is a person that, like, I know you weren't into him, but like a person that me and Sergio grew up like listening to. And
yeah, 100%.
Very motivating. I never thought, when I listen to Manson's music, that's empowering. That's not like,
oh yeah,
you know, that's like, always felt empowering, always felt like that was my thing. And it just sucks having to know that he's actually like that, if it's going to come out completely true.
Dude, I used to listen to Disposable Teens when I would go and fight when I was younger, you know, but like, before I'd go fight, I would listen to Disposable Teens, you know, like and plus, like, in general, like, I mean, I deleted all of his music. I have to go find it. But I forgot the name of the album. I think is it Antichrist Superstar?
Yes, it's Antichrist Superstar is the first day, like the breakout album.
Okay, so yeah, so that was like the first album that I was just like, oh my god, like, what is this? Like, I was blown away. But I didn't realize, like, I didn't think that that's what he was doing. But at the same time, you know, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, when you look in when you really listen to, when you go back
with
and you
a critical eye, it's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
But like, you don't see that until shit like this comes out, because again, all of this is art. Everything we're talking about on this podcast is art.
Correct.
It's always subjective. Music is probably the most subjective out of all of it, plus movies.
Agreed, yeah.
A lot of people have come out with some very violent, you know, songs that are about, you know, hurting somebody or like murdering somebody or getting angry, and it's a metaphor for their pain. And you know, and you hear that, but there's like torturing hints and all of these things that none of us saw, because it was subjective. And it was also good music. It was good metal music. You know, he paved the way for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Well, him and Trent Reznor were probably some of the two you know, people that changed a lot of things in that era.
I would have to agree with you there.
But Trent Reznor is still better because he's not a fucking abuser, and he's a great producer.
Oh no, we lost the light.
Oh no.
We've lost the hope into despair. No.
We're not there already?
Damn, all right. That just reminded me that TikTok was like, I'm 25 years old. Can I still have an emo phase?
I saw this.
I'm sorry, but that is the cringiest shit to me. If
so
you start your emo phase in your 20s,
okay, so
get out of my face.
Let me explain myself. It was a TikTok where the dude was like, you've seen it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was hilarious. And it's just like, hey, we didn't get to experience that shit. My people who didn't have an emo phase didn't get to experience that shit.
So here's the thing.
It's how you go about it.
I found it really...
Because if you're like buying Deans at Hot Topic at 25 years old, come on, dude.
Only the anime.
I only went into looking for I only went in to look for WandaVision shit, okay?
They have the best fucking...
No. I'm not saying don't shop at Hot Topic. I'm saying don't buy black and purple checkered pants with a wallet chain at Hot Topic
How dare you?
25 years old.
They were burgundy and they were cute. Anyways, I found this really heartbreaking TikTok about that, because I fucking am old enough to say this now, and I hate it. I'm old enough to say that children now, teenagers now, are appropriating my culture, because I suffered through The early 2000s, Tumblr, MySpace. I wasn't even allowed to have a fucking MySpace, but I was on MySpace. And, all of these, like the emo culture on Tumblr. I went through all of that. My hair is still repairing from the layers. And this guy got on there, and he was my age, 25, and went through that too. And he's like, not to be too serious, but I don't appreciate people glamorizing that, and I completely understand why that I thought of it, because the emo kids now, like at that time, it was really depressing. And I remember getting sucked into it, and like I remember my dad worrying about it because a lot of this music was depressing, but it helped soothe a lot of things. You related it to it, but I learned that I couldn't wallow in that scene because it just made you more depressed. And then it connected me with people who were equally, to people who were unstable and not good for me.
You form toxic friendships.
Exactly. And, the whole, self-harm, all of these things. And, that was still when a lot of us couldn't talk to our families about how we were feeling.
Yeah. It was so very taboo.
People in the emo scene also had eating disorders. Girls had eating disorders. Boys had eating disorders. So, because everyone was trying to look like the fucking scene kings and queens that were on Tumblr. But what was so fucked up is this guy goes, don't do that. Don't glamorize this. It wasn't glamour. It wasn't great. We all suffered. Like we suffered. We got fucking bullied. It wasn't fun. You guys are making fun of it now on TikTok and having fun with it, but it wasn't fun for us. Yeah. We were suffering, and he goes, I still have a fucking eating disorder. He goes, I'm 6'2" and I'm 50 pounds underweight.
Yeah.
He goes, like, I'm like 150 or something like that. I'm like, holy fuck, dude. Yeah. Like, you look at a lot of us now, and he was even saying, we have dead friends. And I was like, yeah, I have dead friends because of that, era. Like, I had 2 friends that didn't make it past high school. And
I had a friend that didn't make it past middle school.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's insane. And, it's not something to fucking glamorize. Like, I get it. It's fun to joke about it and everything like that. But I saw that today, and it put it in perspective, because now that I think about it, like, I wouldn't want my kid, like, dress however you want, do that. But don't start glamorizing that. Don't start, don't give yourself problems when you don't have problems. Cool. Yeah. So that sucked seeing today.
Yeah.
Sorry for bringing that up.
No. I just wanted to bring that up because I think nobody talks about it now.
Yeah, because like I came up in the Facebook emo era, which was arguably the worst era, because it was all like Facebook groups of people like posting their self-harm photos and shit like that, or it was like, it was brutal, dude. Like,
and that's what sucks, is that I grew up in both eras.
Yeah.
So I had the MySpace era first, where your friend group was literally ranked.
Yeah.
And if you pissed off somebody, you went down in the rank. And I'm going to tell everyone now, I think I have like trauma that I still need to go to therapy for from fucking high school, because that MySpace shit was fucking cruel.
Yeah.
Like, I had somebody, because I wasn't allowed to use it anyways. I should not have been on the fucking internet. And I left it logged in at this girl's house, and because I had just gotten in trouble doing what I do, I don't remember exactly what I did, but I know it was fucking bad. So they had found out.
Super self-aware.
So they all I know is I go to school the next day, and I felt like shit already. I think this is the day that I got in a fight. No, that was the day that girl hit me. This is what happened. So the girl that I had left the MySpace logged into at her house, she got on my MySpace, changed everything, wrote a fucked up bio, wrote like all these fucked up things about me. Jesus. Like, basically said like, oh, she's in love with this person, but doesn't say anything to like the first boy that I ever dated. And I was just like, I got to school and everyone's like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay. Like, all this is going on. They're like, no, that's not what we're talking about. I was like, oh, so no one gives a shit about me. Cool. What's wrong now? And they told me, and I was just like, I never want to use MySpace again. And then I didn't. And then Facebook came along, and my dumbass just fell into that trap too, because that was even worse, especially with all that self-harm photos crap.
Yeah. So like I feel like, you know, like, not discounting the MySpace, because like I'd never had a MySpace, because right when I started getting into social media, it was like phased out already.
Yeah, it died out
like,
quick.
But I just feel like Facebook was so toxic for emo kids, like so toxic, because like you didn't really have like MySpace groups like that, where like you could have like 1,000 people in a group just constantly complaining about shit and constantly like searching for help from it's like two drowning people trying to grab onto to like float or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
and that's one thing that I've learned as I've gotten older. Like, misery really does love company.
It's also
misery loves fucking company.
It's also okay to say no sometimes.
100%, it's okay to say no whenever you want.
It's okay to say no sometimes. Like you don't have to, you know, try to have a savior complex because you feel like you're this person's last hope. You're not.
Yeah, and
you're not.
That's one thing I wish, if I could tell anybody, especially like women who have been in emotionally abusive relationships, and my experience with it, like, don't ever let anyone guilt trip you into saying that they're either going to harm themselves or going to kill themselves or do anything. Unless they're saying, I'm going to kill you, then, you know, do what you can. But if they're sitting there saying that, they're probably not going to do it. Yeah. And just on the off chance that they will, just call the cops. Yeah, just call the cops.
That's the biggest thing. It's like, you know, the reason I say that you're not somebody's last hope is that even if you really are afraid about that person, tell somebody. Like, it's okay to be scared for someone and be like, hey, this person isn't doing so good. Keep an eye on them, please, because of X, Y, and Z, you know?
Because that's when the situation gets out of hand. And that's
correct.
We've seen so much of that I can't even imagine my kids going through any of the stuff that, like, I think I'm going to keep my kids off of everything until about like 13, because I don't want to be a dick. I didn't have a phone. Like, I had a phone, but it was taken away for about 5 years.
Yeah. I think like the biggest thing about that though is, like, you know, it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to make other people feel like you do. Like, that's not okay.
Yes. You cannot drag other people down into your misery, no matter what it is.
If you're really feeling that bad and you really need help, reach out to somebody. Like, I know it seems like an impossible task sometimes, but in the end, it's the most beneficial thing that you can do for yourself, because if you don't, because no one's going to do it for you.
Do you know what the most motivational, like, foundation that ever came out of that entire era was? To Write Love on Our Arms?
Yes.
And they were all about preventing self-harm, preventing suicide, bringing people together. Yep. And artists would do that, and they would collab with To Write Love on Their Arms. I remember buying the shirts. I always said if I won Lotto, I'd donate everything I could to that.
Shout out to the Cole Morale.
Yeah.
Another big one. Yeah.
They did all of that, and I think that was, when that came out, that was very motivational for a lot of fucking people. I had the posters, I had the shirts, and it was like, it was hope, because you finally felt like somebody understood you.
Yeah. Honestly. Like, I think the biggest thing now is, like, what that's evolved into, you know, like, I cannot remember the name of this brand. It's called the Hope something. I think it's called the Hope Foundation.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where they do a lot of
Hope
stuff.
Speak?
No, it's called. I think it's called the Hope Foundation. But another one is Heart Support. Heart Support is another great one that artists are reaching out to kind of prevent this kind of stuff from happening, and they're really, like, helping kids figure out what they want to do with their lives and how to not feel the way they're feeling. And it seems like nowadays, the more and more pressure that kids get from social media, the more and more they're starting to realize, like, oh shit, I need to reach out to someone, you know?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too is, we as kids, we all go through this phase, and, you know, I still think of myself as a kid when I was 19, because I felt like I was a kid. I didn't feel like an adult till last year.
Because you are, yeah. It's think about it, because, like, you know, you're not an adult until you're 25.
Exactly, and I'm a fucking 25-year-old, whatever.
Welcome to the real world.
You're like, it's all downhill from here.
I think, I forgot my thought. Damn.
It's
Keep going.
You're an adult. Real world road rules.
Road rules.
Shout out MTV in the early 2000s.
Shout out Christina P. Shout out Theo Vaughn.
Shout out Bert on the show.
Shout out Bert.
I remember okay. my.
Damn, that worked.
No, I know. You guys should do that more often when I lose my thoughts. No, so I think we all go through a phase when we're younger where you're lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I went through that I felt like lost for 3 years. We all go through that.
Yeah.
And I think that's just coming of age. That's just.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because I used to obsess watching over coming of age movies when I was a kid. I used to love watching Lords of Dogtown, all that kind of shit.
Dude, Lords of Dogtown is so good.
You know what was my favorite coming of age one? Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Oh yeah, great fucking movie.
Because
why does that not surprise me at all?
Because it's a good fucking movie.
He's very. It was a great movie, but I felt like I started to understand what I was feeling by watching those because it made me feel I'm just lost, which is why I think why I didn't let those people kind of suck me in that phase.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what happens with the internet and social media is it amplifies that feeling.
100%.
Because I can tell you, Garrick and I have talked about this. He took, after, his breakup, he took a fucking social media break.
I know.
And I've done the same thing. I've, deleted all my shit and then started it all over again because you need that break. But social media.
I fall victim to this too. I can't I've tried, but I physically I feel that I can't because there's so much pressure to just have a presence and know like for me at least, and I know this is bad. I know this is toxic for me, but I have to feel like I know what's going on at all times. Or else I get really bad anxiety when I don't know.
I think that's an ADHD thing.
I think it might be.
Because I feel the same way. It's kind of the FOMO feeling.
Not even control. Just I need to be aware of what's going on because if I don't, I get super anxious about I don't know what's going on. People think that I have an addiction to my phone, which in part I probably do. But it's not even that I have an addiction to my phone. I just feel I need to be up to speed on whatever's concurrent.
It's the draw to stimulation for me and Serge probably because ever since I was a kid, I was all until I got to high school and I was always tired. I used to get antsy just laying down. I couldn't nap. And I'm like that now again. I'll get antsy when I can't do anything. And it's I remember either losing my phone or I couldn't find it. And I was just going crazy because that's why I play Apex so that I can drown out everything that's going on in my head and focus on that because that's that stimulation that our brains are just craving.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest part is not even the fact that I just need stimulation. Most of the time when I'm on my phone, I'm on Instagram, but not even because I'm posting and looking for likes. I just like to see what other people are posting and what's going on in the world. Just because I feel more at peace knowing what's happening around me, And when I don't feel that, I get anxious. It's weird. I can go with I barely use Twitter. I don't have a Snapchat anymore. I don't I only use my text messages. I'm talking to you guys and Instagram. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't use anything else. I use 3 apps on my phone. I use Instagram, text, and YouTube. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I just use Snapchat to send me Garrick things really quickly, but that's about it. I don't Snapchat anyone else. I don't use any of it. I think the cut down in a lot of it, especially I got off of Facebook 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I got off of Facebook 5 years ago because it's just toxic.
Yeah,
Facebook is very toxic. It's very toxic for people. I've got family on there that I don't talk to that, try to find us and everything like that. And I'm not comfortable with them knowing what's going on in my life. And, none of them can find me now because I don't have any of that. And that's why my username is Satsuki Kiryu because I don't want anyone to find me.
It makes sense though. It's just crazy to think that, between everything that's going on, I feel people shit on millennials oh, you guys are pussies, you guys are this, you guys are that. It's we're the most self-aware generation that we've ever had.
I think we were the ones that started it. And I think the downside is the other generations ran with it.
Yeah.
And they've become I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but
hot take.
So I think because a lot of us millennials are the ones that are from generation X. Like my parents are Generation X.
Yeah, my mom's Gen X too.
Mine are born in 1969, both of them. I think that made us different because those sets of parents, and both of mine said it because my dad was raised by a man, my mom was raised by a woman. We didn't want to be like them.
Yeah.
And in that, they became better parents, but in that it came with its own problems. But the outcome with us millennials is that we just wanted to be fucking heard.
Yep.
We wanted them to fucking recognize our mental health, whether we had to slap it in their face or not.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to be fucking heard.
Yeah.
And I think we made that fucking clear.
Yeah.
We did. We made it very fucking clear. And I think that's the downside to, the younger generations is because they've ran with it. They've come out with cancel culture and
yeah.
But it's also done a lot of good things because I remember trying to tell my mom that I think I was depressed at 15, and she was like, she just straight up told me like, you're 15, you don't know what depression is.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
then now my younger brother's going through the same thing, and she understands.
Yeah.
She's better equipped.
We have an 8-year difference. He's in high school. He's going through it. My mom's like, oh, I recognize this now for my other 2 kids.
Yeah, no, same.
It's so much better because now we can get him the proper care.
And that's a great, sorry.
No. I agree with you. Like, I think it also comes from just like the culture of like parents where they don't understand how kids our age were depressed because it's like you have nothing to be sad about.
Yeah,
it's like oh we're like you have a house, you have clothes, like you have nothing to be upset about. Why are you upset? You
exactly, because they're coming from parents that told them, look, the only thing I need to fucking do for you is put a roof over your head. I don't have to love you. I don't have to like you.
Exactly.
That's one thing.
Our generation was the emotional generation.
Exactly,
because we grew up actually receiving that, but they didn't know how to deal with it.
But exactly. But that's a great, Generation X is fucking awesome. They fucking are. They're kudos to fucking Generation X because we would have, us millennials would have nothing without them. The difference between our parents and their parents is the fact that they had, my parents were able to put aside their pride and be like, okay, something's wrong. We don't know how to handle it, but we'll fix it. We'll do this together. My mom had to learn, with my anxiety, and now she's like my biggest fucking advocate. My dad had to learn me too, but they bent for me. And I think that's a great thing about this. Our parents is that they did that for us. But I think the downside again is just, younger generations are kind of running with it and they don't realize that people can grow. I know that there's heinous things that, can't be forgivable. I still think that we should chemically lobotomize murderers and rapists, but
we can't fix people like Marilyn Manson and what Blizzard has done. But for people who have made legitimate mistakes, people can grow. People have a chance to grow.
That's why I don't think too kindly on people finding tweets from fucking 2009 where somebody was 15 and said when somebody was 15 and said the N-word when everyone was running around saying that.
Yeah. It's either the N-word or the F word for the LGBT community.
Yeah.
It's people said stupid shit. People fucked around.
Well, it's because, the culture has changed.
Exactly.
Because when we were kids, those 2 words, you couldn't not say words back then, there were words that were frowned upon, but there weren't words that you can't say this.
We were just watching because Garrick hasn't seen White Chicks.
Oh, we saw that the other day for the first time.
So we were watching it, and we were just sitting there thinking of all the times, all the things that they could have gotten canceled for.
Yeah.
Dude, same thing. All of the things.
I was watching Eddie Murphy's Raw the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I love Eddie Murphy.
He's hilarious. And I will defend Raw because there's no way that you cannot cancel Eddie Murphy for making jokes about LGBTQ people and saying things that he said 40 years ago, or 30 years ago. Was it 40 years ago? 30 years ago?
It came out in the 80s, didn't it?
So 40 years ago.
And here's the thing. A lot of these people that they're saying, oh, they're making these kind of jokes are allies for the LGBTQ community.
Exactly.
I can't tell you how many fucking comedians have said shit and they're just when you look at it, these people hang out with LGBTQ. Those are their fans. I don't get where everyone got so sensitive because I think our generation was.
I think the biggest thing is intention.
Yeah.
If you're intending it to do harm, then fuck you. You're a piece of shit. Yeah, of course. But if your intention is to make light of something, depending on what that something is, yes, I understand it could be problematic to do that. However, if you're a comedian and you're making jokes about a specific subject where 85% of people are like, yeah, that's okay to make jokes about, like,
Yeah.
obviously you have to be sensitive to the people that aren't okay with that. But at the same time, you don't have to just take away somebody's livelihood because they said something you didn't like.
Yeah, and I always joke around with Garrick because I laugh because
Especially in comedy.
yeah, we make our like misogynistic jokes around each other, and I always say that I'm misogynistic. I even said that on the Twitch stream when me and Gibby were playing because like I said, I'm not a feminist, I'm not anything like that, but I do feel strongly about, women standing up for themselves, equal pay, equal rights, all of that kind of things, But again, I don't like things shoved in my face. I don't like being told that I'm not a feminist because I don't believe in this or anything like that. Like, that's just not me.
You shouldn't let people dictate how you live your life.
Exactly. And like, that's what I hate the most is I can't even watch shout out to Bailey Sarian and her Murder Mystery Monday makeup videos. She's awesome. She can't even like say one thing. Like she was explaining about this murderer and like this is what people said about the murderer, like sympathizing with the murderer. And she's like, I'm not sympathizing. I'm just telling you guys this is what they said. Like you shouldn't fucking have to do that. Yeah. You shouldn't fucking have to walk all over like on eggshells around people and what you want to say.
And you also, like, if you're a comedian in that same vein, you shouldn't have to explain a joke because people get mad at it. Like, it's obviously not meant to be harmful to that person, And I think, like, that's the difference between, people like why I don't necessarily enjoy comics like Ari Shaffir and Louis C.K. because, they do have some malicious intent behind some of their jokes, and that's why I don't necessarily like them as much.
Yeah.
But if you take a comedian like, for example, Tom Segura, who like he says some wild shit in his comedy,
fucking love Tom,
but he's hilarious. Like, and he's always said like, "Hey, listen, I don't mean any of the things I make jokes about. Like, I do it to make people laugh. If any of these people have a problem with it, let me know, and I probably won't do anything about it." It's like he actually had a bit about this where he says, you have every right to be offended at anything anybody says. You do not have a right to expect anyone to do anything about it.
100%. And that's the thing. We are a spoiled generation.
Yes, we are.
And I'll admit that now. I've always admitted that. But there's a lot that makes us great, but we are a spoiled generation. And that's that entitlement that's gotten worse in like Gen Z.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Gen Z thinks they're entitled to everything. I used to think I was entitled to a couple of things. And Gen Z thinks that they're very entitled to a lot of things and they don't realize that nobody owes them anything.
Correct.
And that was one thing like I had a hard time learning. I had a hard time learning that the world didn't owe me shit.
Yeah.
Because I got my first job at PetSmart and I thought the world owed me fucking everything. And every time something happened, I was like,
well, because
then
you don't have any other like you don't know any better.
Yeah, like the first person that like yelled at me at work, like I was training still. I just looked around at everyone and was like, is anyone gonna fucking do anything about that?
Yeah, correct.
And you're just standing around and then you realize like when you go home that day, you're like, that's retail. That's the real world.
That's what retail is.
That's the real world. And I had like a moment where I was like, the world is going to slap me around. Yep. And I'm just gonna have to be okay with that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's like you don't have a choice, or it's like you're either predator or prey. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's either you continue to take hits or you learn how to dodge them.
Correct. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is like once people figure out that the world owes them nothing. I think that was the biggest thing about everybody that grew up in the 90s, where it was like the world never owed them anything and they kind of understood that, And then
they made really good 90s grunge music.
That's my point, is that the world owed them nothing and they were pissed about it. Like,
the 90s was such a era for creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like in my opinion, like the 90s was the most like, at least, commercially, it was the most turbulent time for music other than like the 60s, you know?
Yeah,
like
because
the 60s and the 90s were like the two most turbulent because you had everything going on with like, you know, Vietnam and civil rights. And in the 90s, it was all like, you know, it was all like governmental shit where the people realized that, oh, we shouldn't trust the government anymore.
Yeah, and then on top of that, all of these social changes that were happening at the time.
Yeah,
look
correct.
at all of the things that changed because of Columbine.
Correct. Yeah.
For I think about 3-4 years after, like, remember we were talking about this with Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat had to die down like some of their they had to be careful with some of their stuff because Columbine had just happened.
Yeah.
And that's why all the parents were going after video games for their ratings, and the rating system came out and everything like that. So it fucking sucked because you have all these social things happening, and like Pearl Jam's Jeremy, that's about a school shooting, right?
No, it's about a guy who shot himself in school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But like important things like that was intertwined with a lot of 90s movies.
And then plus like the whole theme, I guess, of like the youth becoming self-aware, I think was the biggest thing about it, where like, you know, younger people were becoming more self-aware, and because, you know, earlier I said that we're the most self-aware generation. It's because, you know, in the 90s, the generation prior to ours, I was born in 98, so like, you know, generation prior to ours was the beginning of that. And the fact that, you know, because they raised us, we became self-aware very young.
Yeah, and
because we had to. We didn't have a choice.
You know, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but one movie that I think is a great example of that is Disturbing Behavior. With it's with James Marsden. It was it was the year you were born. James Marsden, Katie Holmes, and what is his name? I had the hugest crush on him when I was younger. Nick Stahl. Stahl. I had the hugest crush on Nick Stahl for the longest time. He was the cutest weirdo ever. So basically the premise of Disturbing Behavior is that this boy and his family just moved to this like seaside town that you have to get there by a ferry, and his older brother had just committed suicide. And his older brother is actually, the actor is also in a movie called Empire Records. He's kind of like a known cult movie actor. And so he gets there and he kind of notices that things are a little off, because like you've got like these weird jocks that are like super nice, but also like the beginning of the film opens up with like one of these jocks murdering another like student because he gets like super aroused and can't control himself, and you don't understand why, and then some cop covers it up. Well, to find out that they were brainwashing kids. The parents were voluntarily going to this doctor that was basically running the town and saying, look, they're not what we want them to be. We would like them to be better. What they thought was better. And, you know, they would go to these parent meetings. They would vote to let this family do this, and their child the next day would be fucking different. And Nick Stahl, he knew what the fuck was going on. Nobody believed him. And then it was sucked because they got him.
That's
like
crazy. I didn't
he
know
was
that.
like this punk rock kid, like listened to all this good like 90s music, was the one that was fucking, you know, conspiracy theory, this shit's wrong, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he finally gets James Marsden, the lead guy, like he finally convinces him, and he's like, oh shit, something's wrong. And then like the next day James Marsden sees him and he's like hair slicked back, cleaned up, like all this shit. And I thought that was so horrifying.
Yeah.
Because I know my parents would have never fucking done that, but just the fact that like James Marsden, eventually his parents turn around and they're like, it's for the good of you. And he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck could you do that to your kid?
It's like that song by Suicidal Tendencies, Institutionalized.
100%.
You know, where he's like, I go to your schools, I go to your churches, and you tell me what's good for me. Yeah, it's like I love that song so much. It's such a good song.
But I think that's that self-awareness for the 90s kids, that's what they were experiencing at the time.
Yeah, it really was. Like, and I think the biggest thing now is that, you know, my whole family has been very much like pro people power. We're like giving the power to the people, like making everybody have power over themselves, you know? And so because I was raised in a self-aware household like that, I think that it really helped me become self-aware like that, where like I knew what I needed and how to get it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that was a big thing about like when my parents raised me was like, listen, you need to take care of yourself no matter what you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was always taught to respect.
Yeah.
But question.
Yeah, respect but don't trust. Exactly.
If I felt something was wrong, then and I was never good at approaching things like me being the teenager I always trying to stick up for the little guy, and I never approached it right, because every time like I'd see somebody picking on another kid, I would just get so pissed, and I'd end up getting myself in trouble because I'm yelling at this kid. I'm just like, why the fuck would you do this? Like, leave this kid alone.
Yeah.
But that's how I was. I wasn't going to sit there and not do anything. Like, question but respect.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a good note to end on.
That got deep. That was nice.
I kind of figured that would happen when we wanted to bring up Blizzard.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as Blizzard stuff came out, I was like, this is going to take a different turn.
Yeah.
These are important things that we need to definitely talk about, even if it's just a nerding out podcast. These are things, again, art is subjective, but when it comes to real life situations like that, this is important to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's stuff that shouldn't have to be said, but is needed to be said. You know,
because if we think it's not going to be, if we think it needs to be said, we need to talk about it.
Correct.
Because we can't rely on other people to say it.
Correct.
And I hope all those women at the Blizzard office are getting their fucking bag.
Yeah,
I really do. I really do.
So far,
people are going to fucking jail.
Mm-hmm.
People going to fucking jail, Greg.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. You can follow us on TikTok at SDM Podcast, Instagram, Strawberry Death Machine, all one word.
You can find our podcast while you're listening to our podcast, so you know. But if you want, you can go to youtube.com/Strawberry Death Machine. You can find us there visually. You can see us.
Damn, now I gotta wear makeup all the fucking time.
Nerd.
Catch these two Twitch TV
That's fine.
Strawberry Death Machine.
You just gotta work with what you got. I feel bad for all of you.
Catch these
all
two.
right. Why do you think I got a beard? Shit.
It's so funny because I saw a picture of it without a beard and I was like, oh, I get it.
I look like a fucking child.
Catch the man-child at Twitch TV /Strawberry Death Machine. She's there sometimes, and it's a fun time to hang out.
Yeah. Come talk to us on Twitch or hang out or whatever.
Next week, we're going to talk about more nerd shit.
More nerd shit.
I'm not going to promise you anything this time because we keep fucking you guys over.
Deuces, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.